Well, okay, so you said you haven't finished it yet, but we all saw Kanye on
Yes.
Yeah,
Joe
man.
Rogan's podcast. Crazy podcast, by the way.
Holy.
Just seeing the mindset of Kanye is, I look at him as a whole different person now. He's like,
Honestly.
he just takes in information in a complete different way. It's like so unfiltered, but he has such a drive into like what he's doing that he takes his unfiltered thoughts, like a million things coming in at once, and he can just somehow direct it into some crazy shit. But yeah, go ahead.
Yo, like he said, when he was like that, I said it earlier. He thinks 3-dimensionally, and just like at first when he said, I was like, what does that mean? But then he was like, I just gotta get it all.
Yeah.
Every angle, every route, and I just need to put it all together. I was like, I can definitely tell by the way you're talking. Yeah,
exactly.
This is how it is.
Kanye definitely went from like someone I roasted, even though I knew he was like a genius, like in his music and his producing level. But now he's just like I don't know, man. It's almost awe-inspiring. The dude he's been pulled in so many directions. For him to produce what he does, like beyond his music, it's like what?
Yeah.
Like there's councilmen that we've elected that ain't doing. You know what I mean? Like they don't even have the drive.
Spitting.
That's why he's trying to run for president.
Spitting, yeah.
It's a crazy time. I mean, shoot, people have been writing him in, so I mean,
That's crazy.
I'm interested to see what the polls are for actually Kanye votes.
Yeah,
I do want to see the percentage when it comes out. Yeah.
That even just having it like higher than I don't even know, like 15, it would be.
That's a game changer.
It would, yeah, it is a game changer. I like at this point because everyone was talking about when Trump was running that Oprah should go next. Oprah was like, I ain't trying.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't trying. That job is hard. I ain't trying.
Thanks.
I really want to know how many people out there when it comes to like celebrities that we've seen this side of them dimensionally and they want to go into another layer of their career. What are they willing to bring to the table? Like we can see it now. You can go beyond politics and beyond politicians for this role.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I have. It's like it's hard to even say it, but like I love Kanye's vision so much. Like I love what he was talking about, but at the same time, I'm like I don't know if I can justify voting for him.
I agree.
Stuff is
I agree.
I agree. Like I love where you're going, Kanye. Like everybody needs to have that positive attitude, come together. Don't fuck all this political bullshit. Like everybody just needs to get on the same playing field and think globally. Like think about everyone and not just like the money or the power or whatever. Like
yes, and what's weird is like I don't even think he needs to be president to change as much as he's already.
He doesn't. Like
he really does.
He has so much. He's Kanye. He has a lot of
this big fat like they were talking about. He was like because I think Joe asked him like why do you want to do it or something like that. And he was like it's his calling or whatever. And he was like it doesn't matter that I don't care that I have such a big influence around the world because I'm a hip hop artist. I want to take on the quote unquote smaller role because I'm governing a smaller amount of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's comparing 384 million people to probably way more millions of fans he has than that. Like that's it's a big jump, but I get it. He was spitting, yo. He was really spitting.
But that's such a good point too. Now thinking about it, I mean, you got this guy who has fans across the world. His fan audience has to be bigger. It has to be bigger than the population of the USA.
Well, and like he said, he's been so many places over the world. He's been more places than most of the politicians. So he was saying like talking about foreign policy and stuff. He was like, I may not know everything, but like I'm gonna surround myself with the highest professionals. And he feels very confident that he can make a decision presented with all the evidence. He can make like at least a right-minded decision. But.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Yeah.
He there was a point where he's clearly a Christian man.
Heavy.
Heavy. And there was a point where he was talking about his ego, and he said, "Yeah, man, God gave me this ego." And I had to pause and think. I was like, "You can't be Kanye and this stage of Kanye's life and not chalk up this to God in a way, because." In order to even be in this position as Kanye, you have to have what Kanye, like his ego, you know what I mean? Like his ego is so unique that he's the only one that could have done what he did. And he did. And he's done it. There's no one else doing it like him. There's people who have the same amount of money, maybe. There's people who have the same amount of fame, possibly. But to do it the way that he did it, you can't take credit for that almost. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you as an individual, you can't really take credit for all that. You got to chalk it up to something because I assume at that point it's all random. It must feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he almost has like, you heard about like imposter syndrome.
Yes.
He almost has kind of the opposite of it, where he's like, no, I am Kanye, but like God put me in this position to be Kanye. Is like kind of his mindset.
We should kind of all be like that in a way.
A little,
I've had that before. You know, like we've been in positions where it'd be like, okay, like I clearly understand how I got here. I get it. But to be there, to be in that position and like work as you, it's a different vibe. You have to get into it, of course, but like once you get the vibe of like, I'm supposed to be here. I earned the spot here. He doesn't even second guess that.
Yeah, not at all. He's like, no, I made this. This is my own doing.
Man said he was going to run in 2020. Guess who's running in 2020?
He did.
It's crazy.
You gotta give him that. Like if he says something, it's gonna happen. Like he goes for it. He goes.
That's
all
why
in.
I'm really excited for the monastery and the basically mini city he was talking about.
Yes, man.
He's
such a he has such crazy visions, but you're just like, that I could see this working.
Yeah,
do it. Go do it. Yeah.
And it's not like he was like. It's not like he's not talking to people that he should be talking to. He's talking to people that, number one, he's saying their names so nonchalantly, then having to go back and tell us who those people are, and then we're like, oh goddamn, that's what I mean. Okay,
yeah, exactly.
Like whoa, like he's talking to the right people. He's putting himself in the right situations. How can you, just like Joe Rogan said, how can you call this man crazy? He's not crazy.
He's doing everything that a crazy person would be like. I'm gonna do these things. And then not work towards him and saying he did it. This guy is the exact opposite. He might even tell you, he might not tell you all of it. He might be like, just wait. Or even if he does say something, you can see where he's coming from. You have tangible proof of the things that he is doing.
Mm-hmm. It might bounce around every now and then, but it'll come back to that.
It's really,
Well, so, all right, this gets into one of my questions that I had for you guys. So, in light of Kanye, I feel like he thinks very spatially. Like he has a lot of information coming in all at once, and it doesn't quite flow out in a line. Like someone will say one thing to him, and his ideas will bounce around, and he'll say certain things that remind him like of what the question was, something like that. But I wanted to see like how do you guys think you take in information? I feel like myself. I can play both sides. I feel like a lot of times, like if someone asks me a question, I can be very upfront and direct and to the point, answer like exactly what they asked me. But also at the same time, whenever I'm asked, I don't know if it's like really in depth or something, I'll think of other things like Kanye kind of did. I'll think of things that reminded me of like a certain event, and then I'll try to incorporate that into like an answer or. Like I feel like my answers may be jumbled a little bit around, but they're also direct in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. Just how do you think you take in information? Are you more like 3-dimensional, like you said? Like do you really take in a lot of things at once? And
because it's like that. I mean, like okay, like it's even speaking. So like if I'm talking to somebody, and they're using specific words that they might not even catch they're using. So, like, if you're talking to somebody, I don't even know if I can give an example because sometimes it's, like, so in the moment that you have to decode not only the words that they chose to use without even thinking about it, but the intention of why they're doing it. And that gets into so many levels that sometimes that if I'm in a situation where I don't even really want to take the time to really understand, I'll laugh because the amount of information that I'm getting is so funny. Because I'm bouncing off of every memory that I have that even construct what you're telling me that I just can't help but just be like, yo, what? You know what I'm saying?
So that's kind of how I felt about so although I haven't finished it, but it's been a great episode with Kanye, that first 15 minutes, that's how I felt when he was talking. Because he was saying a lot. And at first I was just like,
it's not really making sense.
What are you saying to me? But after like that first 15 minutes, once he like...
you just realize you're like, oh, this is just like how he processes things.
Exactly.
It's like watching a Christopher Nolan movie, man. It's just all over the place until it's not.
Fact, yeah, seriously, because it was like it would say like 5 different things, and I'm like, what does that mean to me? Then the 6th thing comes, and I'm like, oh, okay, so that, okay, Kanye, okay.
And I think the way he speaks filters out people that he doesn't want in his corner. Because if you're not willing to put the time to understand what he's saying, that level of communication allows you to just negate all the rest of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're only talking. If you can continue from after that, then I know we're good.
Right.
Because like, and that's why I really, Joe Rogan is like the best interviewer. Because he puts all of everything aside. He suspends all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he would just talk to you. And like, sure, if you say something that comes across his own personal beliefs, then he'll match it. He'll be like, well, tell me, how do you get up,
Yeah, why do you feel this way?
Right. He talked about like the foreign policy, because I know that Joe Rogan cares deeply about foreign policy. I can tell from what he's, how he interviewed, because he kept asking the same question, like, what about foreign policy? And I knew that he asked that question as frequently because Kanye was literally decoding it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he could tell that foreign policy, the way that word is structured, that you could think so many different ways about it. You could think, attacks on homeland soil, or you could think relationships with individuals who happen to just not be from where you are. And Kanye had to decode all the perception that people were going to have listening to it, and then give his truth. And it's just crazy. It's honestly crazy that he could even have that conversation like that. Like, I don't think any interviewer out there could have the conversation that Joe Rogan had with him.
I mean, like we've seen with previous Kanye interviews, none of them have been, at least for me, and I'm not even done with the episode, this enlightening onto who Kanye is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what Kanye is really thinking. Like every time something like this comes out, people are always ragging Kanye because we get a snippet of one thing that Kanye said and people want to use that against him and blah, blah, blah. This one came out, everybody was like, yo, like, if you listen to this episode, Kanye's spitting.
Yeah.
Everybody I've seen that's watching to go, yo,
he is spitting.
Kanye got something boiling in there. Like, yo, y'all need to hear this, man. Like, it's not a joke.